all. This is Cognition, Episode 4, Scientology. Though maybe I should call it the Dark Ages Part 2. It seems that calling the current situation the Dark Ages has become a thing. First, Ron Perlman posted this. Then I found a surprise. Someone I was following posted a snapshot of this by Christy Alley. Kind of hit a nerve. I'm for the First Amendment. You have the right to practice religion. However, you do not have the right to make people believe in your religion. That is what freedom of religion really means. So I decided to make it public about my experiences with Scientology. You can't think for yourself if other people are trying to think for you. My first encounter with Scientology was in D.C. at DuPont Circle. It was like 1995. I was on my way to work at Leota, Drudensky & Engel, where I was their receptionist slash kind of a law clerk. And this man handed me a book. I was not sure if I took it or not, but he did give me also some material. It was Dianetics, which is the book of Scientology. I ended up talking to my boss, Diana Engel, about it, and I think she indicated to me that that was Tom Cruise's religion in California, and it was just some sort of quack. I think she implied kind of it was a joke. I threw away whatever he gave me. Now, I keep in mind, this was my first year of law school. I had a theater degree. I had worked for a local theater in the D.C. area. I had spent 3 years at American University studying arts management, performing arts, working with actors. I worked with the Washington area lawyers for the arts. So I worked with all the entertainment lawyers in D.C., and I worked with a lot of people who were in the entertainment industry in D.C., knew who I was. Yet not once did anyone tell me where there was this religion called Scientology. Scientology was not present in my world on the East Coast, and no one I knew practiced it. It didn't exist. Yes, I saw movies. Yes, I studied acting. Yes, I knew who Tom Cruise was, but I was never a huge fan, and I did not read People magazine or the tabloids. To me, that kind of material was trivial and had nothing to do with acting. Years go by, and I moved to California. I moved to California in 2002. I am alone out here and struggling. My family and I never got along. One day a man on Hollywood Boulevard, back in 2003, convinces me to take one of the Scientology tests. I take it, and he says I have a high IQ, but I'm not living up to my full potential, and they can help me. He convinces me to go to a few events at the Scientology Center on Sunset. I took a class there. I think it was about organizing things or something. It had to do with problem solving. I was asked to talk to a woman who needed help with her husband. It's a kind of a test. I gave her some advice. Within a week, her life completely changed. She was having, it was kind of like a custody battle dispute problem and something to do with, it was basically their son and taking care of him. Anyways, I became the talk of the center, Celebrity Center. But then they wanted me to take more classes, and I was of the Sunset Center, though, not the Celebrity Center, okay? But then they wanted me to take more classes, and I was not spending money. I wanted to take acting classes. I was hoping to meet creative people, and I did not find the classes they offered me really helpful to what I wanted to do with my life. I pulled away. They also wanted me to spend almost every dime I had on their classes, and I had better use for the money, like rent. They also at one point had me walk around my car and to feel its aura as if it was a way to stop accidents. I thought it was a little out there. They have this thing called what they call the problem, like you're a problem source. They say you need to be warned about people who have a tendency to have a lot of bad luck and bad things happen to them. But bad things happen to good people all the time. From my perspective, what they're looking for are people to target. It's like they're looking for a mark. It's like if you're a thief or a crook, you walk into a room and you try to find the victim. It just didn't smell right to me. It didn't feel right that that's the kind of people they were looking for, because technically, I was a sexual assault victim. I became labeled a problem for speaking out about being sexually assaulted. And here they are telling people you need to look for people who are problems. 2003, 2004, I went to the Actors Fest for the first time. Actors Fest was an event Backstage West used to organize. I actually met one of the guys that created casting about it at this time. They have known me for a decade. I also met Athena, a Scientology rep. She was pretty, exotic looking, and full of life. She and I had a great conversation. Later, I saw her on the set of War of the Worlds giving out books and promoting Scientology. Truth, yeah. In 2000, that was post 2005, I think. Like, yeah, because it was after my cancer. In 2005, I'm convinced by Athena to take a class at the Celebrity Center. I take the class and pass it. Oh yeah, 2005, by the way, is the summer I also had cancer. You can actually find it online if you look up my name, Laura Tull, and a site called Truth in Scientology. Yeah, there's a website that lists people that take classes at the Celebrity Center. Kind of a violation of my right to privacy, I think. I actually worked on a film TV project that shot at the center. A man whose career whose card I have somewhere, I also have Athena's card somewhere, led me on a tour of the facility. He also wanted to cure my knee problem, because I have a knee problem. So he had me walk all these stairs to a room that I think must have been at the top of one of the towers in the Celebrity Center. Then I lay down on a table and he waved his hands over me like he's come, like Reiki. Like it was just like, shh, we're going to cure you. To me, it wasn't scientifically valid. I should point out, by the way, that the stair walking came back to haunt me the next day in the form of knee pain. At one point, he left me alone in a room, and I flipped open a large book, only to read an essay L. Ron Hubbard had written stating he was happy someone had died against his religion. Now, I have studied lots of different religions, and the one rule that all the big religions have is, and agree on, you do not kill. I think it's one of the 10 Commandments. Yeah, it is one of the 10 Commandments. Here I'm reading Hubbard filled with joy for the death of another human being. I also have not read Dianetics cover to cover. I tried. It was completely illogical to me. It was a waste of, I felt like it was a waste of my time. It didn't make any sense to me. It didn't seem to have any valid logic. But if you check the index and look up homosexual and suicide, you will find that Hubbard felt that one was perverse and the other okay sometimes for the betterment of society. Okay, the guy comes and gets me from this room and he audits me. This means that he asks me questions while holding these metal rods in my hands, attached to what looked like a Geiger counter. Like goes like this, got a little needle that goes back and forth. Let me tell you what I really think that is. It's a lie detector. He was asking me questions. I was hiding, I was upset and wanted to leave. So he kept asking me the questions and then looking at me and the machine as if I was broken. It was not broken. I was giving him an Oscar-worthy acting performance and lying through my teeth and saying, oh, I'm fine. Yeah, I'm great. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah. And this is not a very good performance of that. I was like, yeah, I'm okay. Everything's great. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm not scared of anything. In the back of my head, I'm thinking, I'm terrified. I'm scared. I was saying okay when I was terrified and wanted to leave. I'm a good actor when my survival depends on it. I left after the audit. And the thing is, it actually says on the website, I passed the class. The auditing was about finishing the class. And I passed it even though I technically failed that audit. And I know I did because I was lying through my teeth because I wanted to get out of there. I that day decided no more Scientology. I did not want my time wasted. And that is what I felt like they were doing. I spent hours there waiting and sitting around that day and had other things to do. Not to mention they traumatized my knee. Plus the whole death murder thing, which for some reason I think Hubbard was writing about Kennedy, JFK, or Bobby. And I actually told someone on set about this right before I was blacklisted from set. This guy who was a mediator lawyer, I said, I think he was writing about Kennedy. However, within a month, I found that I was listed on the website, Truth in Scientology, listed in fact I'd taken the class at the center. In my opinion, it's a shame site. Either listing me to tell everyone I had left Scientology or to make people aware I'm a Scientologist and warning people. I contacted the site and said I wanted to be taken down. They told me they would post, they wouldn't take me down, but they would post I went to Scientology to be a celebrity and it did not work out. I was like, I want to be an actor and that is not going to change. To be an actor, being a celebrity, kind of means you get to be paid to do acting. That is my objective, to do what I love, not to be famous, but but in order to be able to make money as a career as an actor, you kind of have to be a celebrity on some level. Maybe not like George Clooney celebrity, but you have to have a brand and a reputation for being good at it. And meanwhile, people are saying, no, you can't be famous, Laura. You can't be a celebrity. You can't be known. We need to take it away. We need to shove you. And I'm like, well, then I'm not going to get to do what I love again. I want to be good at acting. I want to be doing what I love. Okay, anyway, I'm digressing. But I now suspect the site is run by someone who wants to hurt people who want to be actors and are not really interested in helping Scientology. Like it's a way of them getting rid of people. I have been back to the center one time since. It was a premiere of a film that a freelance writer and his publication was supporting. The weird, what's the name of the blog he has? Weird something. He had written an article about me and my fight with cancer for the Examiner, and he wanted me to take a photo pointing at the logo. I'd gotten stuck in the rain and was cold and put on these funny gloves I had on, a scarf. I did not look good in the photo. My hair is a mess. I was sick. My skin looks a little bloated. I have an autoimmune disease, and I didn't have it in check at the time. I didn't know I was sick at the time. I didn't find out I was sick till 2014. What was annoying for me was one of the leads of this film had pinched my breast on a set in a crowd scene. It was a indie film, an indie project shot in this like building downtown. I think it used to belong to Howard Hughes. It was like a bank or something, or like one of his old papers, and it was closed down. We were shooting a club scene. And it was for me, he literally, in the crowd, he pinched my boobs. And then for some reason later on, he thanked me. I'm like, what are you thanking me for? Why are you thanking me? I did not talk to this guy, but that day at the premiere, but he knew me. I knew him. He's an Asian guy. I later told the actor center that this actor center that I've been doing monologues at about this guy, what this guy had done. And they blocked me on Twitter. Like, it's actually called the actor center. And I told them, I did this premiere, and this guy who would pinch me on the breast was there. He was leading it. Thinking, they just blocked me. Because apparently Scientology has this perspective that you're a gossip. You're a problem. But that's not gossip. That's someone people should know about. This guy sexually grabbed he acted inappropriately. Turns out at least one of their students was turns out also the Actor Center, at least one of their students is a well-known Scientologist. And I also kind of wonder if this actor teacher I used to have, Will Wallace, is somehow affiliated with them, because they moved from Hollywood to Sherman Oaks. Back to Athena. Over the period of a few years, I watched her go from a vibrant, beautiful woman to lifeless. It was as if a life had died in her eyes. In around 2007, I was at the Central Casting, updating my photo when she walks up to a guy in line and tries to give him material to convince him to go to a Scientology class. He refuses to take it. She says, well, I guess you don't want to be an actor. I say to Athena, just because he doesn't want to take that stuff doesn't mean he's not an actor. Athena was a beautiful woman, and now she was a woman desperate to get people to join Scientology. Within a year or two of this 2007 event, 2008, I was blacklisted from set after being tripped on a set and complaining about sexual harassment. I'm still fighting for justice. And recently, this past year, I got a handwritten letter from Scientology telling me they could help me find a job. Let's put me in a desperate position where I can't get the work I want, and we're going to make you get a job doing what we want you to do. An actor, whose name I can't remember right now, he's really well known. He's one of the people who's most well known for leaving Scientology. He's an older actor. He played a lot of cops and a lot of I actually contacted him on Facebook. I may have a copy of that. I don't know if I do or not, though. But he wrote me an email telling me what he felt that they wanted me for Sea Org. For those of you who don't know, that's where they have these ships that they send people out on, I guess, to train them to be Scientologists. There have been a lot of horrible stories about Sea Org, about abuse, about just how bad they treat the people on those boats. And I'm thinking, great, they wanted to basically abuse me and brainwash me. So anyways, back to Christy Alley, her remarks. Do you know that Ronald Reagan was the man who gave Scientology their 501c3 status? A Republican. Reagan was also a key figure in the blacklisting in the 50s in Hollywood. He was these are responses I made to Alley in her comments. She thinks that Kennedy would basically be a GOP today. No, he would not be. I grew up in an area that knew Kennedy. I met Bobby Kennedy's daughter in high school. If you read Allie's Twitter, it reads like a GOP Republican. And in Hollywood, and keep in mind, and not to shirk John F. Kennedy, but he's also the guy that supposedly had an affair with Marilyn Monroe. Somehow, I don't think he was the kind of man who would join a restrictive Scientology religion that on the one hand acts like you were conservative and Christian. Well, then maybe he would, though, because on the other hand, does movies with Tom Cruise like Eyes Wide Shut. I think that's the name of it. That movie freaked me out. Okay, anyways. The only area in Hollywood my area where I live that voted red, GOP, is the area around the Scientology Center on Sunset. Truth. That's primarily comprised of Scientologists. She claims that we are living in the Dark Ages. Christy Alley does. She's right. But the Dark Ages, kings ruled, and the majority of people had no say or control over their own lives. There was no education, no science. See the film Ironclad. It does a pretty good, and I'm biased. I've met two of the actors in it. I've studied with one of them. It does not, actually, I've studied acting with two of them, David Melville and Daniel Amera. It does a pretty good job of showing the violence of the age. We romanticized the Middle Ages as if people were graceful and good. But there's no toilet paper or running water. In the Dark Ages, the world was run by kings and who answered to the church, not the people. And sometimes they didn't even answer to the church. You are forced to follow religion over individual freedom and rights. And we're in the Dark Ages again. Our Constitution specifically says no royalty. That means no president appointed by a religion or God, but by a vote of the people. No dictators. Right of association, the right of me as an individual to decide of my affiliations. It is not the means to force people to affiliate. In other words, people have the right to join a group, but a group does not have the right to force membership. You don't have the right to force me to be a Scientologist if I want to be an actor. Actors have existed since the time of the Greeks. As you know, I'm about thinking. My point in all of this is think for yourself. Be an individual. You do not need to follow the crowd or a cult or a group. Belonging is not mentally healthy if you give up yourself. I leave you with this comic tweet that actually shocked me because just moments before reading this, I had posted this. Yes, use your head. This is cognition.